Hey Internet, happy Wednesday! This week our topic is library school. What is it? Why did I go? And should you go? However, the question has come up quite a few times in my career at school and at work. Is it worth it? Is library school worth it? And for myself, I'd have to say absolutely, but I will say that I think that library school is not as effective unless you have had experiences in libraries. Now, don't let that freak you out, because before I was in library school, I had never worked in the library before. I'd volunteered at an elementary school library for a couple semesters, but it wasn't really working in the library. It was mostly working with students. In my first semester of library school, I wasn't working at a library, I had no experience with libraries, and I felt like a lot of the material not necessarily was lost on me, but that it just didn't mean as much to me as it meant to other people who had had experiences in libraries or was currently working in the library. So that was kind of crappy, I guess. But since getting my job at a public library and working in the field, I can tell that my studies already have impacted my professional life greatly. So, now that I've talked a little bit about what you should do while you're in library school, let me talk a little bit about my experiences in library school. I have a couple books here. I'm currently in an organization of information class, and so in this class we're talking about how, kind of like the cataloging side of a library, how you organize the information that is in the library, and it's not just for libraries. This also talks about archives and museums and things like that. So this is kind of one side of the spectrum. And then I'm also in teen literature class, so I'm reading books like Clockwork Angel and Divergent and popular teen novels like that. I've also read stuff like Libraries and the Enlightenment. I read for my American library history class. So this is actually a really fascinating read. I liked it a lot. It talked about Enlightenment principles and how it affected the early American libraries. And then I'm also currently in the collection development class in library school, and so this talks about, purchasing books, why you make those purchasing decisions, having a collection development policy, who makes the purchases, and how different purchases are affected in different libraries. So I like to tell people there's a vast spectrum of the things that you're learning in library school. You're learning about computers, you're learning about management and business sides of things, you're learning about literature, you're learning about a ton of different stuff. So if you are a person who has a lot of interests, if you are a person that doesn't like to do the same thing over and over, if you like excitement and development and changes, I think library school is a really good fit for you, because let me tell you, the library is changing every week. There's something new that pops up that you've got to learn. So if you like excitement, I know that's not necessarily a term that always comes up when we're talking about libraries, but the library is a fascinating place to be because it's a melding of so many different aspects of life. There's just so much going on. You're working with people, you're working with computers, you're working with intellectual property, you're working with things that are really tough to talk about, like censorship and freedom and things like that. So I think that the library is a great field to be in. I think that library school is very helpful when going into the field. It's not necessarily necessary. You don't have to go to library school to be involved in the library culture, but I think that it is a really good way to educate yourself and to further your knowledge about libraries and to further your knowledge about humans and how we interact with the information that surrounds us. So Peter and Gwen, see you guys in class tonight, and the rest of you guys, I will see you all around the internet. Hopefully we'll get some interactions with you, but have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will talk to you guys when I turn 23 on Tuesday.